Hello and welcome once again, fellow gaming fans. This is Small Archangel. Thank you for joining me for today's final episode of Rising World Medieval Build. And our place is looking pretty fine, if I do say so myself. We're really taking shape here, and the only thing we're really lacking is houses, so I have added a couple of those as well. You can see one of them over there, but if you want to see more of the houses, you'll have to wait until I do my update video, in which basically I'm just going to wait until I've finished placing houses of different types and sizes around here, and then yes, I will show you the finished product basically. But in the meantime, there is another thing I have built that I want to show you guys around before we move on, and that is directly opposite our inn, which is looking very fine, I think you'll admit too. We have put some more street lamps around the place, an equerry, otherwise known as a stable. Now I've even put a mounting block on the outside of it, so that's pretty cool as well. Just thought that was going to be, you know, authentic, really. There we go. And obviously since the last episode there has been the mounts update, which came out actually this same evening I had made this video, or this episode, the last episode, which was kind of annoying, but I did the mounts update as well, so check that out if you haven't already. Anybody who's already plays the game will know all about this, but there you go. So we've got a sort of a fairly medieval looking stable here. At the moment, as I mentioned in my update video, we need a 6-block high aperture to get horses through. I think it has to be pretty much the same height for donkeys, which is crazy because, you know, even when sitting on a donkey, your head doesn't come up further than that door, so it's a bit crazy. We'll have to see what happens in future. Maybe the devs will sort of lower the collision height there, or maybe they'll give us some huge doors that we can use for our stable buildings. I'm not quite sure. And then we've got a little hayloft up there, which should be accessible by ladder, but somebody forgot to put a ladder up there, so sorry about that, guys. And then in here, of course, I have captured a few horses. We've even got some nameplates there, so hey, if anybody wants to name a horse, guys, I can name a horse for you as well. So there we go. Okay, now, if anybody wants to know how, just before we get on with finishing our tavern, how we place doors so that they work like this as an opposing pair that open in the same direction. There is a trick to it, and it took me a while to work it out. Somebody mentioned it in the comments, at which point I was like, what? How does that work? And I had to fiddle around with it quite a bit, so grid is useful for this. So we want them to open outwards. So we notice that this one will automatically do that as we place it, so that's great. So we just put that in as is. The other one, we need it to be turned round to face this way and to show the handle on the same side. However, if we do that, you can see it's going to open inwards, which is not what we want. Oh, now I've just realized as well, because there's no block there, we're gonna have to put a block there temporarily. This is something I've run up against before as well, because if we don't do that, unfortunately, we're going to end up with the door just not placing where we want, which is that center line there. So we need to turn this around. Whoops. Into its already open position. There we go. And we need to place it like that, and then you can see it will close inwards, or rather it's already technically closed, but it will open so that it's then inwards. So you get the door sound backwards to back to front. So there's that one opening and then closing with a thud, and this one opens with a thud. But hey, who's that fussy? So that is how that goes. Unfortunately, you do get a slightly different shading effect on them as well. One of them looks open, you know, it's supposed to be technically open, so it ends up looking a little bit lighter than the other, whereas the shut one has shadow on it, so it ain't perfect, but for the moment it does. Maybe we'll get pairs of doors in future that will work without us having to do that. So there we go. Okay, so I have done a little bit of work on our inn since the last episode as well. To be honest, I can't remember exactly what I've actually done. I've put in these light posts. I've put in some paving underneath the portico, which I intended to do. And, of course, I've done a bunch of timbering. I think I've finished off our chimneys since the last episode as well, since I was up on the roof anyway. So our chimneys are now sort of go kind of all the way up there. And did I do anything else? I put some doors in. And I think I put in this fire here. I don't think that was there the last time, so I've made a kind of a medieval sort of style. That should be arched really, but we don't have any arches that small, so I was out of luck on that one, because this is about the right size, with a little hood that vents to the outside. Oh look, I could probably do with sorting that beam out, because it shouldn't be there actually. We should probably shorten that so it's not visible. And then we've still got our little roof light there, which I really like actually, which would probably let birds in and hopefully out again. I'm not sure, but it's supposed to vent the place. So that is our cooking, and you can see that actually I've put a grill on there as well, so we can place bacon or whatever kind of meat on there and actually cook it too. We've got a fire either end of our huge open saloon, as I said I was going to do, and this one contains skewers, so we can cook beefsteaks on it, and then this one over here has a spit, so in actual point of fact we can cook any type of meat in here for the moment. I'm just waiting anxiously on the update, which allows us to make other kinds of food, cook our vegetables and things, because at the moment we're having to eat sweet corn and potatoes raw, which, you know, ain't great, quite honestly. I'd also love it if we could make, if we could cook, bake bread, or make stews, or brew beer, or different kind of beverages. That would be fantastic. So we've got some stone underneath our stove there, but what I thought we'd try and do in this kitchen area is have some rather larger stone flags. There we go. And we've got rougher stone underneath the stove, but that's okay. And then we've got a strip of it underneath the entrance here as well, and I might just change that out, or I might leave it. Not quite decided yet. Oops, there we go. And this is kind of currently the biggest sort of stone flag kind of pattern we have, which is why I decided I'd use it there. Now, personally, I would have had the choice, got the stones going in the opposite direction, but unfortunately, we don't have the choice. So there you go. Now, what we've got to do now, and I've made rather more than these than I strictly intended. What we've got to do now is place the flooring down, because without flooring, we ain't going to do anything more in here, of course, because what we're doing today is finishing off the inn. You see, I'm putting doors upstairs as well. So we're going to finish off the inn, which means furnishing the place. But as I say, at the moment, there's not even a floor to put anything on. So we're going to sort that out first. Okay, there we go. Apparently the only way that I can actually make sure that I have enough flooring is to make too much in the first place. I've still got shed loads left over there, so hey ho. It will probably come in handy later on. I'm saying no more for the rest of my project, so that's fine. Okay, so we now have a big open space in here that we need to fill, and actually we could probably use some of this wood here. And we may as well, given we've got a load of it, to make our bar area here. I'm just going to put a couple of blocks there to see if that's right. I'm not convinced by it. It looks a little bit too planky for me, so I might have to try and find something else. But basically, we want to place a bar here. So we're going to need a few blocks to kind of cordon this off and make this a separate area, which is where your staff would be. So we'd have a chef in there. Remember, we have some NPCs in here as well. We'd have some sort of cook there, and probably our barkeeper as well, and maybe, you know, sort of bar staff. Yeah, a couple of wenches. I don't know, but I'm going to take a bit of a snack and go and find us some likely blocks to do the bar with. Okay, here we go. So we had some of these wood blocks left, so we're going to utilise those. I'm going to go almost all the way to the end here, and we're just going to do that. That's probably about the right kind of height, and I may put something over the top there as well. Like, for example, I've got some, okay, didn't need all of those, got some beams and some planks here. I love to use these. We'll stick that on G, we'll flip that horizontal, and we'll just see if we can get this to the right width. There we go. And the right kind of length as well. And I might actually make it even a little bit wider. That might look good. And that needs to be a lot longer than that. Probably needs to be the maximum length. And even then, it's probably not going to be quite long enough. Right, so as usual, I've got some lights, which are basically just these lanterns here, which are about the only choice that we really currently have. I think probably dangling one above the bar is going to be our best option. We'll just go for the centre line there. Now, not sure if that's actually, that might be sort of hovering a little bit, so I might just have to place it without G, otherwise it's kind of hanging in the middle of nowhere. And then again, I'll find the centre point here. Is that actually, yeah, because we have a beam there, that's actually going into it properly, so that's fine. We'll do that, and we'll do the same thing on this side. There we go, and we can do the same thing here as well. There we go, and that deals with that. We've got 4 left, which we can use for upstairs, and that deals with our lighting down here. Now we want to place some furniture, so we've just got simple benches and tables set up down here. So, and I don't suppose it matters over much where I even place these. They can kind of go wherever we see fit, and we can put in more or less of them as you know, as it suits. So we'll just play with this a little bit, see what goes. Is that central? Yep. There we go. And this is basically communal kind of eating and drinking space, which is why it's probably more authentic to have tables and chairs in here, right, in on this kind of model. Benches. Maybe we should have this one this way around. I'm not sure they'd be particularly regimented, but they probably would be slightly out of the way a little bit. Actually, I think probably I do prefer it that way around. We could probably make slightly better use of the space. And I'm not absolutely certain I'm placing these benches the correct way round. We wouldn't find out till we sat on them. Yes, we are facing the table on that occasion, but some of them are almost inevitably going to be the backwards way round, so that when we sit on them, we don't face the table. And that's just because of the way that yeah, you see that one's backwards. So ideally I could do with turning that around, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. And then we could probably fit more tables on this angle, on this elevation, than we currently have. So I'm going to, I thought I'd made 4 tables. I think I only made 3. I'm not sure. There we go. And one on this side. And again, one of these is bound to be backwards way around, but I'll deal with that later. There we go. Yeah, I thought I'd made a 4th table, but I haven't, and the 4th table should probably go there. What I might do as well is put a couple of chairs in front of each fireplace, just because yeah, because it would be nice, wouldn't it? I mean, really what you want is a big kind of bench settle with sort of high sides and what have you. Maybe I'll try making one. That would be quite good if we could sort of get a, if we could kind of get a chair and then sort of remodel it into some sort of bench with a high back and things. That would be appropriate for by the fire, but you want it to block it, so you probably have one either side of the fire there, but we want something there, I think. And then I've got some spare here, some spare benches. What we also want, we've got this. Now I've only got one of these, so it's going to have to occupy a fairly central position, and I'm not quite sure where that is, to be honest, because we haven't really got enough wall to hang it off just there, have we? But we probably do want it somewhere sort of similar to that, so that the thing greets you as you come in the door. No, I think it probably ought to go on this, in this direction. There we go. And yeah, hopefully at some point we will have the option of, we'll put that there. I shall try and do something to make it look a little bit less strange at some point, but hopefully at some point we'll have the option to have smaller heads, smaller trophies, kind of like, you know, deer trophies, deer heads, whatever. And that, yeah, that would be a little bit more convenient. We might even fit a deer head over each of our fireplaces, which is kind of the way I was thinking. There we go. Okay, so we've got our kitchen area more or less sorted out here. But I think what we're going to need is some shelves here, on which I can then place some Oops, not sure if I want it quite that deep. We might want it even deeper, possibly. We'll try and get that. Now that's too big now. Okay, it's going to have to be that kind of length then. We don't want it to be clipping too close to the cooker anyway. We always need some space around that, so I'll even make it maybe a little bit shorter, but perhaps not that short. Something like that is probably about right. And we'll put some shelves here. There we go. And we probably want to put a vertical upright. Now this side's not going to play nice. There we go. There we go. We probably want to put a vertical on there as well. There we go. So we've got some shelf space either side there. And now hopefully we're going to be able to use some posters to sort of place things on top of those shelves to make this place look a little bit more populous. And some posters just generally to decorate the place as well. But that's going to be the last thing that we do today. So we need to decorate upstairs first. And we've got to put some lights up here, I think, because it's going to be a little bit dark. Here is okay, but we're going to need some lighting inside the bedrooms. And you can see that one, actually, I've just technically shut it because I wanted the handles of the doors both facing the same direction. And the obvious place to place these lights is here. I'm just going to take G off because otherwise it clips through the beam a little too much. And we're going to place a light on the other one in the same position. Because that way we're going to be able to see what we're doing in here. And then, basically, what we want... These fireplaces, I'm not sure if they're going to be functional because if we knock out a block to make them a little bit deeper, we're going to be staring at the night sky, I think. Let's just check. Yeah, we pretty much are. So, in order to make those functional, I have to build them out into the room somewhat. And I'm not sure if we've got the space to really be able to do that. It would be nice to have some fires in here. But... we've got a few doors left over, so to start with I am just going to place these closet doors. We've got one here. Oh, now that one I didn't think about too much. It's going the wrong way. We don't want it to open inwards. It needs to open outwards. And then we're going to want some more planks in there to turn that into a cupboard. So we want to put some shelves in there to make that into a good cupboard space for storage. And yeah, we've got to do the same thing on the opposite side here. And we're just placing the door there so that it doesn't interfere with the window. Though, of course, when we open the door... it completely blocks the window, but we're not going to let something like that spoil our fun. Okay, we should probably have, given it's now dark, we should probably have a light just outside our inn as well, like that. So, there we go. Okay, so, back in we go. Now, I made myself an extra table, so we can place another table alongside this one, sort of in the centre of our room, like this, and it shouldn't get in the way, hopefully. There we go, and a couple of additional benches there, and I have a feeling this one needs turning around, so we'll do that before we even start. There we go. Plonk that down. There we are. And then I've also got a chair, or a couple of chairs, which we can kind of experiment with turning into kind of a fireside settle. And that should probably be sort of there. Yeah, kind of there. And for the purpose, I've got some planks. And we're just going to start off by turning that on roughly the same angle. There we go. And we'll make that, whoops, high enough to cover the back of the chair. And then a bit more, because we want a high back here, basically to block. I haven't quite got that right, so let's just pick up the chair and put it a little bit straighter. Basically what we want to do here is build a piece of furniture which we can then sit on. So we're going to place that there. There we go. But which looks like a slightly more sort of old style chair or bench. So we're going to place another one of these here now. But this one wants to be about the height of the seat. Is that about right? It's kind of hard to tell. Probably wants to be just a whisker taller than that. No, that'll do. That'll do. And then we do the same thing on the other side. Okay, there we go. So we now have something approaching a fireside settle, which we stand on like we do every other bit of furniture, but at least it can actually be interacted with. It probably wants some species of arms on it as well, so something, you know, sort of, yeah, kind of like that on either side, like that, and like that. And if that works all right, then I will produce a couple more of those. Perhaps I shall put one either, you know, they wouldn't generally be quite as tall looking as that is, but that's just what you end up with if you've had to build it from scratch, you know, sort of, yeah, with a chair inside it. You have to conceal the chair, so that's just how that ends up, I'm afraid, without us being able to do too much about it. But there you go. So I might make another one or two of those as well. And it's a shame that these tables won't come in this dark wood texture here. You can't make them in that texture, which is a bit of a shame too. So there you go. Oh, and I forgot to mention, yeah, I put some balustrades on the stairs there, which, because the balusters in the game are all a little bit too modern. In fact, they're really quite modern, and so I made those just the same way as I made the fencing around the minstrel's gallery there. The minstrel's gallery is not going to have anything up here at all. I mean, we could put pictures up here, I guess. So we could put sort of an old, you know, painting or something here. We could put our moose head there, I suppose, but we'd get tangled up in the antlers going, you know, because the eaves are quite low here. So probably is better off where he is. But at the same time, yeah, I probably would have put sort of at least a plaque of wood behind him there. So our bedrooms then. Now, the only way, as I say, I'm going to put a fire in there is if I build out the fireplace a bit, so I might try that out. I've actually used up quite a lot of these building my settle, which I didn't sort of mean to use all of them up, because obviously this is meant to be shelving in here. So we're just going to make that a little bit deeper, like so, and we'll place a couple of shelves in there, like so. And we'll have to do the same on the other side, and maybe, you know, maybe I'll even place 3 shelves in there. And then we've got a workable closet. And apart from that, as I said previously, basically all we've got in here is beds. So made some beds, and this would be sort of just a shared dormitory space. So we're going to put as many beds in here as we can kind of fit. And one there, and I think we should be able to just about fit one here as well. Nothing fancy. People would just literally have stayed here overnight when they were en route between places. And we need to do the same on the opposite side just to finish this place off. Okay, so we're going to try and liven up this kitchen area a little bit further just by placing some storage in here, and of course what could be more appropriate in an ale house than a barrel. Technically this place perhaps would have had a cellar. I'm not entirely sure. Possibly, possibly not. Just place that one at a bit of an angle like that. I haven't made one, but it's the kind of thing that one could think about. I'm going to place a couple of crates under here as well. There we go. We could even place one on an upper shelf like so. And then I've actually got some sort of medium-sized crates too, but I'm not sure if they're going to technically fit in here. I might just put one there. But we could do with kind of a table underneath the window for food preparation purposes as well. I haven't got one on me, so we'll leave that for the time being. But that is my thinking there. Now, what we're going to try and do, I have finished up upstairs, more or less. We're just going to see if we can fix up the fireplaces to be workable in here. And for that, we're obviously going to need this to be a little bit further out. We're also going to need this beam to be further out too. And this is going to be kind of like a miniature, a miniature version of what we've got downstairs. So we'll make that full length. There we go, like so. And that now protrudes quite far into the room and looks a little bit like it's going to set the bed on fire. But I don't know. Let's just see. We need to make this stone as well. There we go. I'll put stone there. And then we'll see if a fire can go in there without looking too strange. We could put a grid of some sort in front of it, of course. And I do have some blocks. Ah, that's not what I meant to do that with as well. And that is not where I meant it to go. There we go. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much, that's doable. I think that's doable. It's not a very big room, but hey, it wouldn't be a particularly big room. And you'd be glad of that fire in the winter. So we'll do the same on the other side, which shouldn't take us too long. So let's just do that now. There we are. And that's these rooms finished now. So that's excellent. Okay, so now we're thinking for the final touches of posters, of course. So let's get a few of these queued up. And we perhaps want some sort of painting there, but at the moment I don't really have any images that are suitable for a painting of this period. That's something I'm going to have to research, because that's one image I didn't really think of, and I'm not, yes, one thing I didn't think of, I'm not absolutely certain how likely we'd have been to find paintings, or what kind of paintings they would have been as well. So that's something for me to do off camera, but in the meantime we do have images we should probably use. We should probably place some rugs in front of our fires for a start off. There we go, and I'll place the same one on the opposite side there. There we go. And then we probably want to put something on our shelves over here. Now I have a couple of planks for the purpose, and now we have our crowbar. Actually, let's have a crowbar. It's not a very medieval device, this crowbar, but it is absolutely invaluable, and therefore we can justify using it here. We'll just do our usual thing. I'll shrink that down in height and widen it, and then we can plonk that on the shelf about there. And then we can use our poster to put something on the shelf. There we go. I'm taking away the plank that was originally there, so that gives them a nice 3D kind of quality. Ultimately, hopefully, we'll have actual objects that we can place in the game. We've got a couple at the moment, but like the moose's head, and there's a vase, which is humongous and not really in keeping with this place at all. But things like that are hopefully going to appear at some point, so we're going to be able to sort of make use of those. And then probably what we want on the bar, and this is only going to work from a customer perspective, probably what we want here is some bottles. There we go, kind of like that. And again, I'm going to remove this. There we go. Then, as I say, I think I want a table over there underneath the window. So we're going to want a smaller table than we've got here. Okay, hopefully this is going to fit here relatively well. I might place it without G on so that we can get it in between our barrels and what have you. Then we've got some more images that we can place. Some herbs up here, we just need to get those straight. And of course they need to be really quite a lot larger than that. Probably about like so. And we can just dangle them there to dry. Some game hanging from our wall as well. Possibly we'd have that hanging next to our cooker, our stove, like so, from the beam. There we are. Okay. And then we can go a bit crazy and put a few more on this bench here, so we could have, I don't know, we could have a knife and some food preparation stuff going on there as well. But something else that had occurred to me that we could do is we could actually put something on these tables too. Like that, for example. There we go. Now we've got a bit of meat on there and a spoon on a plate, and we can do a little bit more of that around here as well. We can, in fact, go pretty crazy with posters and get pretty inventive to really kind of put a bit of light around the place, a bit of life around the place rather. But of course, the other thing that we can do to put some life around here is to get ourselves a barkeeper, an innkeeper rather, and possibly a chef in here as well, or basically some tavern staff. So in order to do this, I'm going to have to get myself some clothing from Lunesta's tailor, because obviously we don't want to be dressed in armour for this, because whatever, as anybody's seen, if anybody has seen this before, will know your NPCs will be wearing whatever you are wearing yourself when you spawn them in. So we have to make sure that we're wearing the appropriate stuff. Okay, so for the moment then, our chef is going to be here. Our chef is going to unfortunately have to, there we go, is unfortunately going to have to, yeah, just be standing here. They're not able to really do anything very much at the moment. So we're just going to spawn him in here, and hopefully he's not going to clip through this too badly here. So we're just going to make ourselves an NPC here. And then we're quickly going to lock him in place. And then set NPC skin so that we can, that's not very helpful. I can't actually see him. There we go. And we're going to call this guy, I don't know what we're going to call this guy. Let's give him a beard though. Let's have a look at his hair. I think we'll keep him with the longish hair like that, but we'll make it a little bit darker. Oh, not him. We'll make him kind of mid-colour. Yeah, that'll do. And we'll make his hair a bit darker. Like that. And we'll give him a beard. Possibly not that one. There we go. And we'll change his eye colour as well, because it doesn't look right like that. There we go. And we'll call him Cook. There we go. We'll just call him Tavern Cook for the moment. There we go. Tavern Cook. And he's standing a decent distance from the stove, like he's expecting it to explode. And then what we're going to have to do, oh, this is awkward. We want our innkeeper and our sort of tavern staff to stand right here. So unfortunately, the only way I'm going to be able to do that is to take out a bit of this bar and then stand there myself, because I know from experience they will spawn absolutely right in front of you. So if we want it in front of the bar, we're going to have to be standing in the bar ourselves. There it is, folks. The inn is pretty much completed, except I've just noticed that little bit of wood sticking out there, which needs adjusting. And so there might be an odd minor tweak here or there, but our inn, including sign, is now completed. So you can see Ed's dewdrop inn. So this is named for and by Ed Ford. So thank you, Ed Ford. This is now your inn. And there you can see innkeeper Ed, behind the bar there, along with our lovely barmaid, who is not named, and our cook, who is likewise not named. So we have our bar staff here, and I might even give the barmaid right to wander, but I quite like her where she is at the moment, to be fair. And I'm obviously going to have to go a bit poster crazy around here and get lots of posts around the place too. But otherwise, and I'll probably build myself another sort of settle a bit like that one close to the fire here, or possibly even two. But apart from that, this place is more or less complete. So I hope that you guys like it. And if you've enjoyed this video and indeed this series, please don't forget to hit that like button to let me know, and leave me your comments and your suggestions as well. And with regard to the next series, if you haven't seen the poll, I think by now by time of release, I will have released a poll to let you guys help me to decide what form the new series should take. So check that out on the channel as well, and give me your opinions, because if I don't get a decision out of that, I will have to unilaterally make a decision about the next Rising World series myself. But one thing is for sure, it is going to be a co-op series, so I do hope that you guys will join us for that. Saying no more for the time being. Okay, guys, so thank you for joining me for this video and for this series, and until the next one, keep gaming, keep surviving, and stay happy. Bye bye for now.